Hello, hello, and welcome. Welcome on into the swear word. I'm your host, Brandon Swear, and hey, this is a podcast for the chilihead community by the chilihead community. Regardless of your spice tolerance, this is the place for you. Up tonight, we have a great episode. We have 3 barbecue sauces on deck here tonight, as well as a great guest. So, episode 182 starts now. What's going on, Swear Nation? So glad to have everyone here. Whether you're tuning in on YouTube, Spotify, Rumble, and or Apple Podcasts, thank you so much for being here and continuing to make this podcast what it is. Now, up tonight, we have 3 barbecue sauces on deck. All these are from Bompa Jacks. So we're going to be diving on into both the non-heated, their medium, and of course their spicy version of their barbecue sauce. So we'll be diving on into that on Hot or Not, as well as we have Doc from Bompa Jacks as our guest here tonight. So we're going to learn about the journey, how he got started, how Bompa Jacks really got its name, its branding, its positioning, and all the inspiration along the way, plus much, much more. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on over to Hot or Not. All right, hey, welcome on into Hot or Not. Up tonight, we have 3 sauces on deck. All 3 of these are barbecue sauces from Bompa Jacks. We have everything from no heat to the hottest that they offer. And we're going to be diving on into all these. Now, as always, with Hot or Not, with the way that I like to break down and review things here, I don't like to read the ingredients ahead of time. I like to let my taste buds do the exploration, and then we all learn together what those ingredients are and see if I was able to pick up some of that, what was going on in there, as well as I also don't do a 1 out of 10 scale. I do a 1 out of 5, and that's really based off of 5 different categories. Those categories are heat, aroma, flavor, versatility, burn. Add those up, average them out, and that gives us our total swear word rating. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and check out the very first product. Nice, clean labeling. I love the foil look to the lettering. This is the not so hot version. So this is going to be much more friendly for those individuals that are just starting out. So from Bompa Jacks, the not too spicy. This does have a perforation on the cellophane. For those that are wanting to know, this is an 18-ounce bottle. Oh yeah, beautiful sound. So from a consistency standpoint, looks like a nice medium consistency. There's definitely some hold, but there's also some flow going on. Aromatics wise, definitely picking up that onion and some of that tomato and just kind of a spices, but mostly that savory tomato. Cheers. Smooth, savory, nice, like a soft, inviting pillow of just flavors exploding on your tongue. It just like cushions as that barbecue sauce hits the tongue. It nicely coats the tongue very well, very inviting, very savory. The layers go from like that tomatoey vinegar with a little bit of just a kiss of that vinegar and a kiss of that onion and garlic going on in there. And then from there, you're picking up more of that savory body coming through, and that kind of tomato taste dials back just a little bit. And so you're really able to get more of a pronounced just accent notes of spice in there. So absolutely phenomenal stuff there. One that, once again, if you're just starting out, you're going to be fine with this one. This will be safe for the whole family. So definitely phenomenal stuff there. This is, once again, a barbecue sauce. So utilizing it in the means of like sandwiches, burgers, pizzas, water, tomato paste, brown sugar, apple cider vinegar, and then hot sauce. That hot sauce is aged cayenne, red peppers, vinegar, water, salt, and garlic pepper. And then we have distilled vinegar, salt, onion, and spices. Very limited ingredient in there. Obviously, we're having a little bit of a pairing of some hot sauce inside of this barbecue sauce. This is the spicy version of the barbecue sauce. So go ahead and give this one a good smell. Now, right off the bat, from comparing the spicy aroma to the not so spicy aroma, you are definitely able to pick up more of that pepper note on the spicy one, as to be expected. Now, from a color standpoint, we are keeping about the same tone, maybe a little bit more noticeable on the brightness to the red. Nice medium consistency, good flow, nice hold, good overall sheen to the look on this sauce. But cheers. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's good. That's the notes that you're getting right off the bat. Savory, a little bit of sweetness, but not too much. But that savory note of that tomato, that onion, maybe some of that garlic, I can't really quite tell. That first comes in, and then from there, you're getting a nice overall kind of a vinegar, pepper note carrying forward. It's starting to hit maybe the front of the tongue, on the sides a little bit, just a slight sizzle. Nothing too crazy on that overall heat standpoint. You're getting, like I said, a quick flash to the tongue, maybe a little bit towards the back of the mouth, not quite the back of the throat, but all in all, beautifully balanced barbecue sauce here from Bompa Jacks. This is the spicy version. Ingredients are water, tomato paste, brown sugar, apple cider vinegar, hot sauce. Once again, the aged cayenne red peppers, vinegar, water, salt, garlic pepper, garlic powder, and distilled vinegar, salt, onion, and spices. So looks to be the same ingredient lineup, probably just more of the hot sauce put into this one, if I had to take a guess. Now, from a comparison of the two, if you are comfortable eating spicy food or you like a little bit of heat, highly recommend checking out the spicy Bompa Jacks barbecue sauce. Where would I use this? Same applications. Anywhere I'm going to be utilizing barbecue sauce is going to be absolutely crucial for like burgers, sandwiches. This is bring on the heat, the hottest version of the Bompa Jacks barbecue sauce out. So we're going to be diving on in, figuring out what this one's all about. So as you can see there, great overall visual representation, still, same familiar Bompa Jacks branding. And of course, you're going to see the flames coming up on the bottom of the label with this one, letting you know that you're in for a nice treat. The color on this sauce is just slightly darker than, say, the other two as a whole. And for those that are keeping track, no, I do not see a perforation on the cellophane. This one smells a little bit more like you're getting a little bit more of a sweet note, almost kind of like a little bit more smoky. Not really picking up the peppers any more so than, say, the spicy version from an aromatic standpoint, but just a much more smoky depth to this overall aroma. So very interesting to see that change there. Now let's go ahead and give this a good pour and see what this is like. Nice. This was probably one of the higher flows out of the other two offerings from Bompa Jacks, but cheers. This is definitely latching out into the back of the throat a little bit more. Just ever so slightly turning up that dial over that spicy. You're picking it up, you're feeling it, and you are definitely locking in and enjoying this ride. Now, from a heat standpoint, this is going to be geared towards those individuals that are working on their own personal best, all the way to those that have been kind of, they've got their footing, they're pushing themselves, but maybe they're not eating the hottest things out there, but they're still enjoying a nice, respectable amount of heat. This is going to be a great one for you to jump on into. Ingredients are water, tomato paste, brown sugar, apple cider vinegar, hot sauce, which is aged cayenne red peppers, vinegar, water, salt, garlic powder, and then we have distilled vinegar, salt, onion, and spices. So it looks like the same list of ingredients in there. I definitely want to say that there has to be some form of a Superhot in there based on the way that it was starting to hit a little bit of the back of the throat. It has completely dissipated now. It's just a slight sizzle. If you enjoyed the products that are featured here tonight on Hot or Not, I will have the direct links down below for all these 3 different barbecue sauces from Bompa Jacks, so you can check out and pick up your own bottle. Let me know what you think of it as well, and look forward to hearing back from all y'all. But let's do this. Let's go ahead and kick it on over to tonight's podcast. Hey, Doc, how's it going?
It's going great. Thanks for having me, Brandon.
Glad to have you here. Obviously, for those that are unfamiliar, you have a great overall lineup, which we'll be diving into here. So, some fun things to kind of dive into if you're into the barbecue side of things, and maybe you also like some of that heat to go with your barbecue. So, we will talk more about that here in a second. But the only set question is what got you into, overall like liking spicy food into the world of hot? And then what was that catapulting moment when you said, you know what? Now we need to make this spicy.
I'll take you back to when we first started. That was in 1986. My family owned a historical restaurant here in Arizona called the Rock Springs Cafe, and that's in Black Canyon City, Arizona. Historical, it's over 100 years old. But one thing that we brought to light was our barbecue, and along with the barbecue, we had a huge festival the last Saturday of every month called Hogs and Heat. And what really, really took off was our sauce. We had, after this event, and again, it happened every last Saturday of the month, people really enjoyed the sauce. And the sauce is 5 generations strong in our family from Tennessee. But bringing it back into our restaurant, people would show up with their gallon jugs to buy our sauce. Uh, and my dad, I was 18 at the time, but my dad, you gotta go ahead and bottle this stuff. You'll make a fortune. And I said, well, Dad, it takes a lot of money to start that up. Can you loan me the money? And he said, hell no. so so anyway, fast forward to 3 years ago, I got a little bit of money and checked it off my bucket list that I was going to start bottling this stuff. And I honored my dad by naming it Bompa Jacks. And it's been going great. We're really getting the name out there. We have 3 different versions of it. And to tie it into uh, the heat was never a factor until we started having people come up to our booth at farmers markets and stuff. It was, hey, do you have the really hot stuff? I really want hot. So we didn't at the time. We just started off with not so spicy and the medium the jalapeno habanero. But it wasn't until I went back into the kitchen and started playing with ghost pepper, scorpion pepper, reaper, all of the above to get that flavor I was looking for. And I really wanted to go scorpion, but what I found was that your mouth goes numb right away
Hmm.
with the reaper and scorpion. Uh, so what I wound up really enjoying was the ghost pepper. Being a sweet pepper, I was able to add 1 gram of ghost pepper to every jar, which really gave it that flavor profile. There's about 1,500 shoe in every bottle. It's not crazy. I call it 3 minutes of zing. But
Hmm.
what's nice about the ghost pepper, being a sweet pepper anyway, it you get the flavor of your food, you get the flavor of the sauce first, and then your taste buds catch on to the 1,500 shoe, and then it just zings, and it'll zing for about 3 minutes. So people really enjoy it. I had a guy that his neighbor had bought a bottle for Christmas last year for him up in Prescott, Arizona, and it called for him. So he called me and he's like, I've been looking for a sauce that fits this profile exactly. So where can I get it? And I said, well, how many do you want? He said, I want 6 cases of this stuff. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to ship 6 cases to you. I'll meet you. So I actually met him halfway up to Prescott and loaded his truck up with 6 cases of the sauce. And man, he's a happy camper. But we see that all the time. There's a lot more people that are enjoying the hot stuff. So
Yeah, absolutely. It's a definitely a growing market for that ultra spicy slash entry level spicy is always something that is needed because while that high heat stuff, while the big names, the flashy objects, if you will, are the things that are the attention grabbers, the ones that are pulling people in to want to try spicy food for the first time, oftentimes, it's a little bit of a humbling experience for those that may not be familiar with it at times. So, having that ghost pepper, yes, very true to what you're saying in there, to be able to enjoy, appreciate, and understand the flavor profile that's going in, and having that ghost pepper having that kind of a slower to the party heat experience really makes it a dual balance, enjoyable experience. Because something that's beautiful with the ghost pepper is you can eat it, and if you start to figure out where your personal tolerance is, you can take a bite, time it to where before the drop off of that heat hits, you can take another bite to have it perfectly just keep a baseline of spice in your
Yeah.
food, in your mouth, whatever. So it's great.
Yeah, people enjoy it. They really do. I'm glad that we wound up that was added to the mix in our inventory. So now we have three different flavors. So pretty much catering to all the palates, right? We have not so spicy, which that one we take out all the heat and leave all the flavor. It's really good, with kids that like those nuggets, dipping sauce for nuggets. It's great on seafood, that kind of thing. And then the middle of the road one is our habanero, and we uh, we got that right spice flavor profile that not only would you enjoy it, but
Hmm.
it's good to cook for the whole family with it, right?
Oh
And we
yeah.
always give the barbecue tips, and the best way to cook with barbecue sauce on the smoker or the grill, uh, and people really really like that too. So not only do we have the bring on the heat, but we have the other two flavors, and eventually we're going to start growing on that. We'll be hitting uh, uh, bring on the pain, and and bring up to that reaper level, and do some other flavors too, which we're really excited about too. But company's growing. I'm really happy about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's amazing. And yeah, to have that nice foundation, built upon really the food side of things, the food industry side of things, and having that, successful sauce, from an attraction standpoint of those that are, constant patrons of your, restaurants, et cetera. You have this whole underlying foundation of, just passionate consumers. So that's super
Yeah,
cool to be able to have that. I mean, many great establishments have had very similar experience. One that's close to home here, for Texans like me that have been growing up with this in my backyard, but with like say Joe T. Garcia's as an example, like they are known for their salsa at the stores. But there's a lot of people that may have tried that product not in Texas. And then whenever they get to Texas and they get to Fort Worth, and then they want to go stop into the establishment, I'm sure there's probably some of that similar crossover happening.
oh yeah. When you get somebody that's local in Texas, though, I mean, very opinionated. They're very stuck on what flavors they want, and I think it's great that we can compete with people in Texas.
Hmm.
Where you know they might have had that one barbecue sauce that they've always loved, but now we're giving them the run for their money. And like, hey, Bompa Jacks is definitely a contender.
Yeah, yeah. Well, absolutely. And I think that you were seeing this more as a constant uptick, I guess, really just simply in the populations all across the U.S. But I can speak to at least more so the DFW area. You're having so many people from not just all over the U.S. but all over the world starting to kind of flood in. So how you're starting to have this influence of different cultures and different flavor profiles that people prefer are kind of starting to shape and mold, and you're seeing more of a melting pot. And what's great about that is you're also seeing people's taste buds, preferences, all these things that may have been stuck in one mode, if you will, start to be challenged and questioned. And people are trying new things, and they're finding out, okay, well, maybe something that I thought I only preferred over anything else isn't quite the case anymore. So it's pretty cool to see that happen, and to watch the overall growth. And very true to what I've mentioned before, and I'm sure you've seen this as well. You can hand the 10 same ingredients to 10 different makers, and they're all going to make something different. It's going to be all unique
Mhm.
to them. There may be the same ingredients in there, but you're starting to see their personality. You're starting to see their care and everything really else. All those other things pour into the sauce. So, very cool. Very, very cool.
You mentioned ingredients. The one thing that we have that we didn't set out to do, but it just naturally took its place, is the nutritional value of it. It's gluten free, cholesterol free, fat free, has 9% sugar in our sauce as opposed to like the 18% that you get in the grocery store with some competitors, those
Hmm.
type of things. So we get our sweetness from apple cider vinegar and brown sugar, which that's a it's a nice variation, right, from
Yep.
granulated sugar or using preservatives. There's no preservatives whatsoever in our product, but that hits home. This is a product that it's good for you, but it doesn't taste like it's good for you. It
Yep.
doesn't have that weird taste to it, but it definitely hits home with the people that are really looking to eat healthier, that kind of thing too. So
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's something that is, growing in, I guess, overall attention in that sense of like more and more people are starting to pay attention to what they're putting into their body. So that, it's a great direction to go. I think it's one that I don't know why we as a society ever kind of threw that to the wayside, I guess, for simplicity of just not having to worry about a whole bunch of ingredients, maybe like the cutting corners in that sense is kind of what walked us into this path. But, paying attention to, I mean, I don't know about you, but I would rather eat real food over some kind of synthetic something or other, right? So,
yeah,
um,
exactly. A lot of the competitors that use preservatives in their product, it has to do with shelf life.
mhm.
They'll and to bring down the price of their sauce to where you can buy it at. There's competitors out there that will sell their sauce at $2-3. They make it up in volume, where the quality suffers a lot. Uh, the shelf life the shelf life for Bompa Jacks is 6+ months in the refrigerator, 12+ months stored in your pantry. The canning process tells it all, and we have the bottle. We use our bottles, the glass bottles, instead of the plastic, which preserves the Bompa Jacks sauce uh, longer than some of the competitors too. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't talk enough about Bompa Jacks. I really do enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. I like it. I like the overall inspiration there too of really kind of leaning into. It sounds like, I guess, more or less two kind of different states' outlooks on barbecue in general. What I don't know what's going on with the screen here, but I had the website pulled up. Let's see if this we'll refresh this here and see if we can get that loaded. But yeah, the whenever you were creating your sauce initially, like the before you started rolling it out for production and all this other stuff, I guess how was that process for you? Was this just like you kind of trying to figure out something that was going to resonate well with your taste buds, or were you trying to pair this specifically to a, you know, certain offering?
Well, I guess our taste panel had to do with, when we had the restaurant and we saw how much people enjoyed the sauce. That was
Mm-hmm.
kind of our taste panel to know that we had something pretty special. As far as ramping up the company and what direction do we want to go and everything, it really had to do with uh, seeing what our competitors were doing, see what works, see what doesn't, uh, designing a label that really stands out, uh, uh, working with my co-packer because we have a company that bottles our sauce for us. Uh, those type of things, we just rolled up our sleeves and figured it out. And there was a lot of trials and errors, but once we really enjoyed our product and we were working with a lot of people that do this on a day-to-day basis, they really gave us some really good input uh, to make it work. I think my biggest challenge was marketing to get this on, Facebook and Instagram. And I'm not that tech savvy, but you definitely live and learn. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. It is a bit of a journey, and I feel like that's not everyone wants to take that on, and sure, that's fine. But I think almost at the beginning or at some point throughout the process of owning a business, it's good to know as a business owner kind of just how they function, or at least what the process should look like, uh, because then you start to appreciate, I guess, the effort that has been put in to kind of have that, come to be. Because it's as far, definitely with today's day and age, it's become so numb to us. Hey, just take a picture and just throw it online, and you're good. Well, it's not always just quite that simple. It is to an extent. Just have like a proof of showing up, right? But then there's like those other intricate things that you need to get done in order to really have that, whether it be an advertisement or just a social post in general, start to sing. So, yep.
Exactly.
All
We
right.
just set many goals for ourselves, and once we achieved that, we moved on to the next one and next one and next one.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'm sure you've heard quite a few interesting things that your barbecue sauces have been used on when making. Has there been anything that you've seen or been told about that's like either shocking or say that really made it to where you're like, I got to make that for myself?
um, I don't know if anything like stands out, but there has been some aha moments listening to some of our customers. A lot has to do with, oh, I just made the best Bloody Mary with your sauce. It was amazing. Um, Seafood. They love putting it on salmon. Dipping sauce for shrimp instead of cocktail sauce. That type of
Hmm.
thing, especially to bring on the heat. That's a really good one too for shrimp. Uh, my wife got a little upset that we put it on the Thanksgiving turkey this year. I forgot to tell her, but she's not much of a heat fan, but I am. So those type of things are a lot of fun. Uh, One thing that I always promote is Bompa Jacks, no matter what flavor that you get or what heat level, it makes a great marinade too. We just add 1 cup of water and half a cup of apple cider vinegar with our sauce, and put it in the fridge. Put whatever you're cooking in the refrigerator for 24 hours. Comes out, it's so juicy and tender, and a lot of flavor with everything that you do.
Absolutely. It's something that stood out to me as well, and you said marinating, so it also like kind of made it drive even further the thought, but utilizing. So there's like a lot of people that will, whether they're making grilling, etc., the normal use cases, but then you have those that will like to utilize this, say, for making beef jerky or making like a trail mix or something. I could see where that would be really fun, interesting, and a great way to add flavor and depth to what you have going on. Just kind of doing a light glazing and either dehydrating the meat with that and then finishing it, and etc. Or just simply getting your trail mix that you want together in a bowl or some kind of a mixing container, and then add a little bit of that and give it a good shake. I bet that would be nicely coated before you get ready to let that dry out for your hike or whatever.
Well, Brandon, don't give away all my secrets. That's in our mix. That's what we're planning on bringing to our inventory too. Is doing Bompa Jacks jerky and spices as well. So
All right.
look forward to that here in the near future.
Okay, okay. All right. Well, hey, the path forward for that looks so clear. I couldn't help but mention it. So, very cool to hear that that's what y'all are potentially working on right now for some stuff to roll out. So, look forward to that. Beef jerky is one of those things that I feel like, same with hot sauce. There's so many different companies out there kind of selling a very similar type of product. But that's nothing to say that they can't all exist, right? The market is plenty big enough. You have everyone looking for different specifications, different things that they want to focus on, and with your sauces being the way they are, I can only imagine that it would also lead to an elevated finished product.
Exactly.
Well, Now, you mentioned obviously the growing up in more or less the food experience of the restaurant world. That is already a fast paced thing. Now, how much of, I guess, that early on growing up in that restaurant environment has helped kind of be beneficial to what you're doing now, creating the
Oh,
sauces?
huge, huge. You know that you just talked about my background. I got a degree in hotel restaurant management from Northern Arizona University and graduated in '92. From there, I ran restaurants and hotels and resorts all across the United States. One thing that I took from that is definitely uh, how to have conversations with people.
Hmm.
Really important listening
Hmm.
what people have to say about what they want. You know, that's a big thing within any business, right? A lot of business owners will go out and they want to achieve something that they feel would work out, but the truly the companies that truly grow are the ones where an owner will listen to your customers and listen to what they have to say and take their suggestions and promote those, because that's what's really going to sell. You're not selling to yourself, you're selling to your customers.
Hmm.
So that's the huge thing that I've learned throughout the years. um, Restaurants too, when you're designing a menu, uh, same thing. You know, you're not chefs and cooks, they're not designing menus based on what they like. They want to design their menus on what their customers will like and keep on coming back for more and more and more. And that's where people make their money. It's not on that one stop shop. It's when they have that reoccurring sale that comes in all the time. So that's primarily what my experience has been, and what I've taken away from that experience is people. You know, you got to listen to what people say.
Yeah, well, very, very true to that. Something that you were mentioning earlier is really getting out there in the markets, et cetera. But what is your, I guess, to kind of tie into that, knowing, obviously the industry side, knowing getting out there and obviously promoting the overall sauce line in these markets, is that the primary focus right now? Is in-person markets? Are you working towards more in-store location? What does the, I guess, path forward look like?
Yeah, so definitely right now what we're doing is expanding the brand and getting the name out there, Bompa Jacks. Um, we're in events, we're in festivals, we're in farmers markets all across Arizona right now, venturing into other states as well, like Colorado and Utah and California, uh, going into there with farmers markets and events in mind. Uh, we've we sponsored a team for the uh, Memphis in May, which was 2 years ago, where they actually won. Uh, the team that won the best baby back ribs with our sauce, so we hold that honor pretty high. Uh, there's a lot of different avenues to get that word out there. Eventually, where we want to go is we want to be in every store. We want to be in every restaurant. We across the United States. Um, you know, internationally, that might be a far call for right now, because we want to take these baby goal steps.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, uh, having it nationally where we can get our product in most restaurants that will utilize barbecue sauce in any one of their dishes. So that's
Yeah.
pretty where we want to go. Distribution is going to be big too. You know, not only do the 18-ounce bottles that we have, but go in more into the 5-gallon jugs, go into the gallon jugs, those type of things for restaurants, and uh, hopefully we'll have some competitors using our sauce more often in some of the barbecue competitions.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And, as you were describing that, as you were talking about the larger offerings as well, thinking back to the ingredients comment from earlier, yeah, I mean, you're really kind of poised more. It seems like not to exclude, the regular retail consumers, but I mean that it almost makes more sense for, say, restaurants and so on want to just jump in for that purpose when offering the larger amount, the focus to ingredients, and to be able to really have, the chefs or whoever is using it, because realistically, this could be anything from, a street vendor all the way to a fine dining restaurant that could be utilizing this in the overall process. So those individuals now have something that is, they know the quality and the source and the flavor is going to be consistent to be able to really drive home a crafted menu in that sense. And one thing that I'm sure a lot of people probably end up hitting you with as well, which is from some of these other, let's call them now just box chains, known brands. One that is coming to mind that I at least hear often is has the initials SBR, and they've kind of been, I guess, cranking out, I guess, that more friendly pricing, blah, 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 all these, that's kind of been their niche, right? So you have the people that are going to be going for that. So same thing with, like, say, ketchup. You have a wide array of ketchups, etc. Now, obviously, when you're catering and speaking towards those that are focusing on the ingredients, etc., that's going to resonate very well with them. From a standpoint of the everyday consumer that's maybe just going up there to grab stuff and not really paying attention, I guess, how has that experience been? I'm sure you probably come across a few at, say, some of these markets that are like, hey, barbecue sauce, what's the difference? I guess, how are you able to connect with those that are just the quick consumers, I guess?
Well, two things come to mind. Number one is taste, and
Mm-hmm.
the other is price, right? I can't compete with a $2 bottle of barbecue sauce. For for someone that is just looking for that easy fix, they go into a grocery store or whatever, and uh, they don't really care about what bottle that they're going to pick. They're going to try anything. Nutrition's not a concern to them at all, or whatever. They're just going to
Yeah.
pull that cheap bottle and go home and make whatever they did. But the quality isn't going to be there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I try to keep my cost down as much as possible
Yeah.
based on the ingredients that I use. And I think, like we had mentioned, I think the overall concern for the consumer is, number one, is this going to be a healthy, viable option for my family? Is this
Mm-hmm.
going to be good? Uh, can I afford a bottle of Bompa Jacks opposed to a $2 bottle of whatever,
Yeah.
on the grocery store? So cost and taste. If I can get people to taste the product and understand the value of what they're getting, uh, then definitely it's going to be taste, it's going to be cost. Those are the two things I'm going to keep in mind all the time.
All right. Well, I like it, and I like the direction, the focus on that. The overall idea of, I guess, best pairings is probably something you also get asked often. I know it's something that I hear often in the comments, or I'll get, private messages sent saying, "Hey, how does this product pair with these foods, or etc." So, I guess to get ahead of that question for anyone that may be watching and listening, what would be your personal recommendations for best pairing of, let's say, a food or a type of meat for you know each sauce?
Well, when you say that, one thing comes to mind. We always have a family pizza party. We have a pizza oven in the outdoor kitchen, and everybody puts whatever they want on their pizza. Well, the most popular version is, people in our family love to make the barbecue pizza with Bompa Jacks. So that's definitely a great thing. If you want a good barbecue pizza, Bompa Jacks would be awesome for that, and whatever level of heat that you want, it's there. And again, when you're pairing Bompa Jacks to any kind of protein or any kind of meat, um, of course, the flavor is going to be there on chicken, on ribs, on brisket, even though I usually do a dry rub on the brisket and use Bompa Jacks as a dipping sauce. But pretty shrimp, like I had mentioned, anything is going to work out well when you're looking for pairing Bompa Jacks to any kind of protein. The big thing that really adds to this, and I mentioned that I use the brown sugar. The
Mm-hmm.
molasses that's in the brown sugar uh, coats your protein very well. Uh, it looks like a candied apple when it comes down to it, you know.
Uh-huh.
And I always tell people, you know, you don't want to cook with barbecue sauce with Bompa Jacks. What you want to do is the last 15 minutes of your cook time. That's when you douse your protein with Bompa Jacks and just let it caramelize onto the meat. You know, turn off all your burners and have it caramelize on the meat to where, you know, it's just that candied apple look. The presentation's great. It's that sticky tacky taste too that really owns the whole meal. So
Yeah.
I think those are all the factors that I'll discuss on pairing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and something that stood out to me as you're talking about that is, they also would pair so phenomenally well with burnt ends because of that.
Oh
Like
yeah.
being able
Oh
to go at the very, towards that last, like, let's say 20 or so minutes, and to kind of do a nice glaze, let it get in there, let it start to harden, kind of get that, glazy look on the outside perfectly, trap a little bit, just a kiss of smoke inside of that, and you're good. Oh my goodness,
yeah.
I would imagine that would be beautiful.
You mentioned in one of your other shows too about barbecue sauce for desserts. That kind of
Hmm.
stuck in. Like, uh, I'd like to find a dessert that I could use Bompa Jacks on. That would be phenomenal.
Yeah, yeah. It would, if you were to do that, just just thinking this through now, if you were to do a piece of, let's say, candied bacon utilizing
Oh
Bompa
yeah,
Jack's barbecue sauce, and say either put that broken up into a peanut butter cookie, I think would be
yeah.
phenomenal, with a little like
Or
light
churro.
dusting or churro, and a
Yeah,
light dusting of some pepper powder into the to the top as just like a little kiss of it. You could have different versions. I'm thinking either like for those that don't like heat, really much at all, but they like the flavor, something like a smoked paprika dusted on top of that cookie would be pretty good. Or, for those that like a little bit of heat, do maybe like a habanero dusted on there. And then those for like the hotter end, a little bit of dusting of some ghost pepper. I could see that
you're making
really
my
working out well.
mouth water.
Hey, for some reason, my brain works in very strange ways of being able to connect certain dots. But that was just the first thing that popped in my head for being able to utilize and craft and create that within the barbecue sauce. But yeah, I mean, also, if you were to, just thinking here out loud, if you were to maybe incorporate more of that. um I don't know. Maybe if you did cut a little bit back on, say, some of the acidic side, and you were to work in a little bit of the, say, like a cinnamon, thinking about the churro thing that you mentioned earlier, like working in some of those kind of sweeter spices, more zesty kind of spices like that into the mix, I
Yeah.
bet that would end up making a pretty interesting sauce right there.
Well, come to think of it, we've had a lot of people suggest doing these fruit flavored sauces. You know, like raspberry and blueberry, and yeah, I guess it, the mind can just take you to all different suggestions, but
Oh yeah.
definitely something that we would want to think about down the road is bringing in some fruit flavors.
Yeah. Oh goodness gracious. A apple pie. Like before you, like when you slice the apples, marinate
Yeah.
that in the Bompa Jacks, let that kind of
Ooh,
soak in, dust
yeah.
that with whatever kind of spices and seasonings and etc., and then throw that in a pie or a cobbler. Oh my goodness. That
I
would be
could
so
be
good.
the instead of 31 flavors, I could be the 32nd flavor of Bompa Jacks ice cream.
There we go. Hey, you got a nice little smoky apple pie with the Bumpa Jackson.
Yeah,
Oh, that would be so good. Yep. Yep.
it's
I can
great.
see it coming together now. Definitely can. Okay. All right. Oftentimes we'll talk about the wins, the success and everything, but like the realistic side of it is there's what a lot of people don't see is the struggle or the pitfalls that might have been in that road to get to where you are. So really kind of talking about maybe some of those moments that looking back at it now wasn't that big of a deal, but at the time, it was kind of a little bit of fear creeping in.
Well, yeah, I think I'm one of those type of people though that when I'm focused on something, I'm going to see it to the end, right? So yes, was there peaks and valleys in ramping up Bompa Jacks? Sure, there were, but the one thing that kept me going is I had a lot of people on my side, like, oh, this is great, this is awesome. That gave me that motivation, incentive to tackle uh, any negative opportunity, that popped up. Like um, working with a co-packer,
Hmm.
you know, I had to make sure that their vision or their heart was in it just as much as mine was. What could I do to sell them on Bompa Jack's product where they didn't realize, where they realized that this is unique opposed to the 30 different other sauces that they're producing for people. What why wouldn't I have them focus as much on my product as I do? Right.
Hmm.
That was one of the opportunities. But again, we were able to overcome it. They saw the progress that we were making on it. Um, and of course, starting up a business, there's a lot of cost involved in there. You got to make sure that your budget's in line uh, to handle a lot of these expenses. And that's going to be in anything that you do, right?
Yep.
You want to make sure that you have enough money to achieve your goals, and what are you going to do to make that money uh, to keep it going, right? So many companies, especially within the food industry, a lot of these companies will go belly up because they didn't plan ahead, right?
Hmm.
There's always going to be challenges. It's just how you handle those challenges that really make it work.
Absolutely. And that you said it perfectly. That's the one thing I really wanted to kind of touch on there because I will get oftentimes many messages about whether that be people on the fence about trying to jump in, like maybe they're creating something, they're hearing all this positive feedback, but they still have a little bit of that doubt, or maybe that's a sauce maker that's been going for a year, two, whatever, and all of a sudden they're starting to have a little bit of that kind of fear creep in. It's good to reflect and hear from others, these type of, obstacles that to
Yeah.
them or that person in that moment might feel just absolutely devastating. But just to
Right.
know that, others have been able to push past this, they've achieved what they have set out to do. It's not something that's just completely blockaded in a sense, right? Of just really, I guess, invigorating. At the core of it, now that I think about it, it's invigorating and a compelling story for the American dream, right? Being able to create something and see it through and not give up, and God, that's just so many people I feel like are aiming to accomplish that, but letting themselves get in their own way. And so
Mhm.
to have that positivity, those types of stories, challenges, and obstacles conveyed is greatly impactful for everyone else. So no, I appreciate that.
Definitely.
Well, the something you had mentioned about the family spice and everything kind of falling into different categories led me now to wondering how much of this has become more of very true to how you were with the restaurant side of things. How has this become a family business?
um, I have my wife and my cousins, even my mom. Uh, they all help out with the farmers markets, which is a lot of fun. My sister, who is a marketing person within the real estate market,
Hmm.
uh, there's a lot of opportunity there where she'll hire on Bompa Jacks to do some open houses and those type of things where uh, it gets in front of a lot of people, and that's a lot of fun. The participation in the family is really what started this whole venture. It wasn't just me wanting to do it; it was pretty much the whole family. I mean, we were sitting at a family dinner one time and barbecue, and I had brought a bunch of the Bompa Jacks barbecue sauce, and one thing that my son said is, "Dad, if you don't start bottling this stuff, I'm going to do it." And that just kind of resonated. That I've heard it so many times from my family. You got to do it. You got to do it. You got to do it. Finally, it was just like, "Yep, I'm going to do it." That was it. But at the same time, everybody's willing to help out. I love it when my son shows up at an event with his family, and they come in and they help out when needed, and those kind of things just really touch home. I love family. I love other people's families that really anybody that you any family that can congregate together and once a week or once a month or even just the holidays. That's an inspiration to me. I love it.
Yep. Yep. Very, very well said. And yeah, it's where I was going at with that. You hit on it perfectly, which is obviously any kind of business in general. It's much harder as a sole individual trying to run something, right? But whenever you have families love and support, whether they're in there day in, day out, just like you are, that part is nice to have, but it's not necessary. It's the support. It's the times whenever that doubt creeps in, whenever that fear creeps in, that you have that great support system behind you to kind of keep you motivated, keep you going. Same thing, it sounds like with the idea of getting, the barbecue sauce off the ground in the first place, which is like that motivation from family, that constant just, hey, nudge here, nudge there, throughout life. And so it's that same type of, process is what kind of led the whole podcast to even exist. It was that little 1% nudge. Everyone else was already kind of there to have things happen. It was okay. Well, let's sit down and do it. And for a lot of people, it doesn't sound like a lot. That 1%. You could probably even chalk this down as well for launching Bompa Jacks as that kind of 1% nudge. And yes, it is a small percentage, but it's funny how even with the human body, you're even just a slight degree off on something, and things could either work or not work. So I guess from there, we've touched on a little bit of what the future looks like potentially from a product standpoint. But I guess from a road ahead, where are you wanting to be in, say, the next 3 years?
I'll be in every grocery store. I'll be in most markets, and in 3 years, I'll be just ramping up to start distributions into some of the main distribution centers across the United States. I I uh, I, I have a broker that I've been
Mm,
working with to get into those type of markets.
nice.
Ace Hardware stores. I'm
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of the local butcher shops here in Arizona and venturing into other states as well. Uh, I'm in the Donnell Farms in Jackson, Tennessee, which is they have it's one of those really cool. You can go through the corn mazes and you can go to their cafe and they have a great barbecue restaurant. Uh, they get my sauce, so I send them, I ship them Bompa Jacks. Um, where else? Yeah, New York Butcher Shop, Little Bones Butcher Shop, Smokeums, which is up in Prescott, Arizona. Uh, Target and Walmart. We're looking at signing a contract with them here in the near future if we can get the agreement underway. Uh, but there's a lot of potential. We haven't even scratched the surface yet on where Bompa Jacks is going to be. Of course, Amazon and a lot of the online stores we're on too. Uh, you can get those, but the primary one is our website where you can get uh, all the discounts and and the fast shipping and all of that is through bompajacks.com.
All right, all right. And here, let me go ahead and pull the website up one another time for all those that are watching, listening, or really, I guess, watching in this case. So as we go over here, you do have obviously the recipes section. You have the nutritional facts like we're talking about. So you can kind of get an idea of how you can potentially use the barbecue sauce to best impact what you have going on. But obviously, you have the shopping section, so you can really get in here, find out what you like, find out what is calling to you, amplify your overall cook and what you have going on. Now, the different offerings that you have, are you able to say someone's coming on here and they're like, you know what, I want to buy all three. How can I get them? What are they going to be buying individually, or is there a setup package for that?
Oh, definitely. The way that we have it set up is you can online you can do uh, 5 to 12 bottles is free shipping. Uh, if you buy one bottle, it's $12. If you buy uh, more than one bottle, it's $10 each. So,
Okay.
however you want to categorize that, you definitely can. Shipping is around $13. Uh, so, I hate to have people pay for the shipping if they don't have to, especially if they're going to be uh, buying a lot more Bompa Jacks. So that's why I set the free shipping at 5 to 12 bottles. Uh, but other than that, it's a 30% discount on any of the bottles after one bottle.
Hey, that's a heck of a savings after getting one bottle. So definitely can see where it would be very enticing to want to try all that you have available for their own personal journey and experience. That's one thing I always encourage, and I welcome others, which is the idea of documenting each and every sauce, because I may try something, you may try something, and you pick up something different than I pick up some. But the being able to understand and fully, appreciate what you're getting, then you start
Yeah,
to know and make, these more calculated, better decisions in that sense. So, it's a better way to one keep that sauce moving in the fridge or on the in the pantry, or however you like to store it, and also being able to continuously have a flow of sales coming out, but also purchases coming in. So it also helps from the business standpoint. So I like it when people present with their food in that sense. So much of life is living distracted and just aimlessly wandering. Why not be intentional in all the different areas? You'll start to notice, you'll start to appreciate things. So, all
great
right. Well,
conversation.
kind of touched on quite a few nugget of knowledge just throughout this whole entire episode. So definitely some great information there. If you had something in particular that has stood out to you that you would like to share, then by all means.
I just love the recognition when people write reviews about Bompa Jacks and that they finally found the sauce they've been looking for and all of that. That's the one thing that stands out. That that's my passion, right? I love to see people take pride in what I do. So uh, I guess that's the one thing that stands out.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Now, the next part here is the hot seat nomination. This is someone that you think would make a great guest for the show.
Oh, well, I noticed that you have the gentleman from Molina's on a
Hmm.
lot. He's always really good. Um, Man, I'd have to think about that. There's definitely someone in Tennessee that I I would love to recognize. They call him the Chinaman in
Okay.
Tennessee, and this guy is amazing. He does the Hawaiian pit uh, barbecues in Tennessee. He has like 2 acres of land and just a small little hut, but everybody goes to the Chinaman for their barbecue, and he has one of the best Kansas City style. Uh, Very very vinegary type barbecue sauce that he sells along with his barbecue. Um, I'd have to get his phone number though and
Okay.
some information to you, but Yeah, that's the one person that sticks in mind as being really really good is the Chinaman. The
All right.
Chinaman.
Yeah, yeah. No, I like it. I'm looking forward to it. It sounds interesting. I can't wait to have him on. So thank you for that nomination. Now, this last part here is greatly beneficial to those individuals that are just audio only listeners. Where can they find you? How can they find you? And any kind of last minute announcements or anything that you want to let know? Go ahead.
Um, you can find me on bompajacks.com. That's my hub. That's where you can find all the information based on what to order, how to order, uh, the different events that I'll be at, the recipes that I put on there, which we make a mean sloppy Joe. It's amazing. That recipe's in there along with best practices on the smoker and on the barbecue, of course. But that's that would be my thing is hit Bompa Jacks up on bompajacks.com. Uh, and then if you're looking for Amazon and stuff like that, that's here to come here shortly.
All right. Well, Doc, thank you so much for coming on. It has been an absolute pleasure learning about Bompa Jacks, learning about your overall journey. There's still so much more we can dive into, so we'd love to have you back.
Oh, thank you, Brandon. I'd love to come back. This has been great.
Doc, thanks so much for coming on the podcast. It has been an absolute pleasure having you on here. If you'd like to keep up with Bompa Jacks, I will have the direct links down below for all the ways that you can keep up with Bompa Jacks, as well as a link to the main site so you can check out the full lineup of amazing products. And don't forget to pick up more than one bottle for that 30% saving. And I think it was 5 or more bottles, you get that free shipping. So if that is something that you want to make sure that you can take advantage of, please do so. And hey, if you want to check out the sauces that were featured here tonight, I will have those directly linked down below as well. Don't forget, new episodes drop every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central with the periodic Thursday rolling in there. If you're on a platform that allows for a 5-star rating and review of the podcast, please go ahead and do so. That helps get in front of the algorithm and in front of more chili heads and individuals that are curious about the world of hot, because this is your place for everything to do with the world of hot. Also have sponsorship opportunities available for the podcast. So if you're looking to have a featured segment, go ahead, reach out on theswearword.net or reach out on socials and we'll get that conversation started there. And for our current sponsors, podvision.io, if you're looking to grow your brand, start your brand, you've hit a bump in the road, you're trying to figure things out, highly recommend checking out podvision.io for all of those needs, as well as webdx.one. Maybe you have an online site, maybe you had a guy at one point, maybe you lost contact and just never got around to building a website at all. Highly recommend checking out webdx.one. Best of all, they get you looking great online while you get to focus on what you do best. I'm Brandon Swear. From everything from the world of hot, this has been The Swear Word.